We can't always be performing and being number one year after year after year after year. The cycles that you have a year of learning, a year of experimenting, a year of performance, and then a year to thrive, right? And we want to talk about what it's like to not have to thrive 24/7, not closing all of the time. Because if you're closing on so many deals constantly, like when does asset management happen, right? Hey everyone, guess who's back? Susie and Michael here. Thanks for being with us, Adventurous Family, for season 3. We're super excited. Michael and I just needed a little refresh. We needed to do a refresh for life, a refresh for asset management, a refresh for podcasting. But thank you for joining us, right, for season 1 and season 2. Like, we spent a lot of time during those seasons talking about like what a great impact people are making like within the investing space, whether it's multifamily or land or residential or industrial, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, our big focus was like, hey, listen to all these great things that people are doing and how that impact is huge, right? How it ripples and how it's really important for everyone as a society, as a community, for this to occur. We did a lot of interviews within that space, and we were like super excited to meet all the people we did. Like, all that one-on-one FaceTime is so valuable. Like, we love it so much. But we are super excited for this new season because we're going to be focusing on all things multifamily real estate investing, but really with that emphasis on operations, asset management, and being a lead sponsor. We want to give you a behind the scenes look of what it's like, you know, back here in the world of doing all the things that doesn't have to do with just acquisitions and closings. We got a lot of feedback that many of you would like to hear more of that. So you're going to hear a lot of Michael and Susie time, but we're still going to sprinkle interviews in between because we still think those are super valuable, right? Because there are super seasoned experts out there that we want you to hear from because we don't know it all and we love learning in this journey as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to be picking and being very choosy with who's on the podcast because we want to provide you with those experts like Susie mentioned, right? To be able to deliver the best content to you as the listener. It's part of the Adventurous family. And so in the thing, you know, after we sat down and had a discussion about like where we thought podcast was going and everything and why we decided to take a break, we really wanted to refocus the mission, as Susie mentioned. And what we've noticed, over the end of 2022, basically all of 2023, and what we're seeing currently, this is the beginning of 2024, what we're seeing is that what I like to say is 2023 was the year of the asset manager. Right? There was a lot of people who bought assets in 2020, 2021, and then sold them quickly within 12 months, 18 months after ownership. Just because cap rates were compressing so quickly, you saw, double-digit rent increases and things like that. And it wasn't really, in my opinion, it wasn't hardcore asset management, right? It was more playing the market and playing appreciation. Nothing wrong with that at all. However, in 2023, you really saw who the true asset managers are, who can manage their asset the best during a basically stagnant economy, right? When rents, we see a decrease in rents in some markets now. We saw expenses going up incredibly, especially with insurance. We'll get into all that throughout this whole season. And yeah, so I think after, what we're seeing now and what happened in 2023 and what we're still seeing in 2024, after everything shakes out, with people, foreclosures happening and things like that, I think what's going to be left is really the A-class operators. And so we want to share what's made us successful as operators, as asset managers, as lead sponsors in this podcast with you. So as Susie mentioned, the theme of season 3 is going to be multifamily operations.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about like key performance indicators, also known as KPIs. We're going to talk about what 2023 was like for us in terms of acquisitions, because Michael and I were pretty much under contract for a majority of 2023, even though we only closed on 2 assets, right? So like that's completely different than before where you had to close within 60 days, where now, right, you can be closing for 9 to 12 months just because of everything that was going on. Like, we really just want to get into the nitty gritty of what it even looks like to pull away from a deal and not decide to close. Like, all of the factors that are super important, like during acquisitions and getting ready to close, but like how that really carries through everything else. And we love it. Like, it's fun because people think that this is not the sexy part of real estate investing, but I do. Like, I feel like this is where we're the most creative. This is where a lot of problem solving comes in, like where we really have to come together, right? Like as a couple, but then also when we come together with our partners that are on the deals with us, with our property management team and staff, like with the vendors that we have to work with, like there's a lot that goes into it. And that kind of creation to me is the best part.
Absolutely. So to expand on that a little bit too, throughout the season, there's going to be multiple episodes where we're going to be peeling back the curtain, right? We're both of us are going to be sharing our screen throughout this, not only talking about what we're showing on the screen, and then really showing you exactly what we're doing as asset managers. And so if you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, all these podcast episodes are published on our YouTube channel, so you can watch everything as well. So you can see what we're talking about when we're sharing our screen and stuff like that. The Adventures of a Real Estate Investor, a YouTube channel, just Google that, and you'll be able to find our channel. So you can subscribe there so you don't miss out when we publish these episodes as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I listened to a podcast in the last week by Jay Shetty, and like something that he talked about was that like we have different years of our life. Like we can't always be performing and being number one year after year after year after year. And like the cycles that he talks about was that you have a year of learning, a year of experimenting, a year of performance, and then a year to thrive, right? And we want to talk about what it's like to not have to thrive 24/7, not closing all of the time. Because if you're closing on so many deals constantly, like when does asset management happen, right? When it's just Michael and I asset managing and using our like very valuable partners, like we want to talk about, like Michael mentioned, like what that all entails.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about various different things in asset management, our tips, tricks, challenges, what has worked, what hasn't worked, where we failed, where we succeeded, all these things to come in this next season. But we also want provide a call to action to you. We want engagement from the listeners, from the Adventurous family, right? We want to ask you guys to write us an email about what topics do you want us to cover in asset management. Yes, we have a list of topics we're going to cover in this season, but if you have some questions or some topics that you want us to cover, please feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, email us, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we also want to address common misconceptions, like any of those multifamily mythbusters. We're here to chat about them, right? What are things that you've heard? And we can tell you that's actually true or not. Things that we've experienced that we didn't know were actually true or not until we experienced them. Or we came up to an issue and we're like, man, we thought this was going to be completely different than how this turned out. Like just all of the above.
Yeah. And to elaborate on that, we're actually going to have a segment in every single episode called Multifamily Mythbusters. And in that segment, like Susie mentioned, we're going to be addressing these myths and uncovering them. So with that, thank you so much for being a part of the Adventurous family. Thank you for your patience. I know we haven't posted an episode since last June, but now after this break, this much needed break, we're coming back with season 3, better and stronger than ever, with a lot of great content to deliver to our Adventurous family.
Yay. Well, let's get it there. Until next time, explore more.
Adventure waits.
Woo!